Looking good. What's up? What's up, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to the live podcast with Mikey T, the movie star. All right, everything's looking Gucci over here. Let me make sure all my sound is correct in the studio tonight.
Moving to
We have some epic topics to cover tonight, you guys. We have some epic titles, some epic topics to talk about tonight. 50 Cent was talking about G Unit. 50 Cent, that's right, the G Unit General was talking about his old record label and some of the mishaps from the label. This is going to be very interesting to go over. A lot of us know a few different things about G Unit. You know, we know about all the speculations. We know about the signings that were rumored. We know all about that. But we also are going to hear it from 50's mouth at this point. Some of the G Unit signings that didn't necessarily work out. One of them being OT Genesis, you guys. OT Genesis, who would go on to create a really big song. OT Genesis actually made a hit record. OT Genesis actually put out a hit after leaving G Unit, you guys. He put out the record Coco. I'm in love with the Coco. Y'all probably remember that. That put OT Genesis on the map. You know what I mean? Definitely put OT Genesis on the map. So that is a topic we're going to be discussing. The Game's new album, Drillmatic. That's right. Drillmatic coming out August 12th. The new album from The Game is finally going to see the light of day. Very excited for that. I mean, I know a lot of you in here have been following The Game's career for a number of years. Now, The Game actually is making his rounds, doing his promo. You know what I mean? He's doing his promotion. And he couldn't help himself, but he had to diss Lloyd Banks. He had to send shots at Young Buck, his former G Unit cohorts. You know what I mean? He was locked in with these guys. He was getting money with these guys. As he said, they were breaking down, what was it, $500,000? They were breaking down $500,000 with one another. I need everybody logging in here. Hit that like button. Make sure you let me know what city and state you're tapping in from, man. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in tonight. We got some interesting topics to go over, especially 50 Cent admitting some G Unit failures. Some failures from the label. We'll go over the label in its entirety tonight, you guys. We can talk about some of the quote unquote failures from the G Unit Records label. And, if anybody wants to join me tonight, if anybody out there, say you used to work with G Unit, if anybody out there watches the content and wants to tap in, just let me know in the live and we'll be sure to get you in. But we have a lot to discuss. And also, we're going to be going over Wack 100 and Compton Menace. That's right, Wack 100 and Compton Menace, explaining some of the issues that they may have had in the past relating to the game. Yeah, relating to Menace taking issue, I guess, with not being able to get the opportunity to perform. Wack 100 giving him the opportunity to perform and then having to get an earful from the game later on. Yo, I didn't want you. Yo, why would you do that? Why would I do that? Because this is the guy that has put himself on the line for you. Compton Menace is somebody who put his own career on the line for the game. We're going to get into it a little bit. Of course, I would like to hear some of those stories from Compton Menace, but Menace is a very loyal dude, a very respectable dude. One of the first things he said when they were talking about all these Wack 100 allegations with Compton Menace, he said he would never pull up to somebody's establishment without letting them know. So these are a few of the topics that we're going to be speaking about tonight, you guys. I got some hot topics tonight. The 50 Cent G Unit label topic, though, you guys, this is the one right here that got me. 50 Cent has some big plays in the future. He says he has some big plans apparently at the Astrodome. He has moved to Houston, I guess, at this point, which honestly, it's one of the meccas. I've been out there when they were doing one of the, South by Southwest joints. I was out there running around, promoting myself, meeting a bunch of different people years back, so I know how much Texas actually has to offer. Plus, we saw the Texas scene have so many different representations over the years. We've seen that scene right there, Texas, the biggest state in the United States, right? The Lone Star State, right? We've seen them actually show love to even our East Coast talents. You know what I'm saying? We've seen them have the grip of the industry as Atlanta did at one point as well. I guess some people say Atlanta still does have the grip of the industry. You know what I mean? I think it's more, in reality, I think it's more spaced out nowadays. You know what I mean? I don't think Atlanta, I might catch some flack from this, you guys. Maybe I'm the first vlogger saying it, but I don't think Atlanta has as much of a tight grip on the industry as they once did. So 50's working, though. We saw that whole thing about he's working with some sports teams. I got to salute 50 for that as well. That's why I decided to include it. You know what I'm saying? You got to throw in a little bit of positive shit there as well. 50's making some major plays. I remember at one point he was doing something with his headphones and he got distribution all throughout the Disney parks or some shit like that. 50 is always working. And like I said, I've been to Houston, I've been to Austin, I've seen these spots in Texas before, and yeah, the hospitality, as 50 said. 50 said, I ran into some random acts of kindness. The people have been good to me. Houston or Miami, 50 was saying. Houston or Miami. I lived in Miami at one point in time, and at that point, Miami was the mecca of music. But right now, it might be more worthwhile to live in Houston. I noticed a lot of people that lived in Miami when I was there ended up moving to Atlanta. You know what I mean? It's just how things go. Property value, things are less expensive in certain areas. So people get older. They don't want to be in that scene. I heard all of these different types of explanations for why people leave Miami. You know what I'm saying? 50 also addressed the movie The Expendables. So before we get to G Unit, because I usually focus on the music, but it's in the name, Mikey T, the movie star. 50 spoke on The Expendables. So I feel like here we are. So here we are, you guys. Before we get to G Unit, let's talk about The Expendables. That's what's up, Nut. Mr. Nut 34. That's what's up. You're getting a crib in Houston. Yeah, Houston, obviously. I mean, Texas, I know I have a couple friends who moved to Texas. You know what I mean? I got friends every year who were hitting me up to go to Texas South by Southwest. You know what I'm saying? Amazing opportunities out there. 50's obviously going to go out there and make the best of it. But let's transition here into the conversation of The Expendables. So 50 spoke on the fact that he actually had the chance to play the role that Terry Crews played. 50 said, I couldn't do it because I had a fragrance coming out. My album was there. This was guaranteed money. I would go to play in the woods with you guys, but it came full circle. He said he also has a TV show with Stallone that will be picked up. So let's address that real quick before we move on to the G Unit conversation. You all know the Expendables movie that Sylvester Stallone produced, where he actually put together all of the biggest movie stars into this movie and actually, let it play out on the screen. At one point, you had Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Bruce Willis all on the screen together doing some epic shit, you guys. So 50 Cent opted out of this. So I did a little bit of examining. I am the movie star. The Expendables released in 2010. So this means 50 Cent was actually working on the Curtis album. He was doing that whole thing where he was going against Kanye West, right? September 11th, 2009 is when they both released their albums. So I imagine they were filming The Expendables around then. So 50 had to opt out of the project to actually do the Curtis album. Okay. In 2012, well, in 2010, Terry Crews was then come into play Hail Caesar. So let's explore this bad decision, you guys. Share this video as well. So 2010, Terry Crews gets the role. 2012, Terry Crews would be featured in the Expendables video game as well as the sequel. So in 2012, he got 2 more checks off of the Expendables. Terry Crews would go on to appear in the 3rd film in 2014. So now he has transitioned the Expendables into 4 checks between 3 films and a video game. Now, in all honesty, the Expendables films, they actually lost touch when Sylvester Stallone tried to make it PG-13. Getting rid of the blood, he tried to expand the audience. The Expendables 1 made $275 million, you guys. It made $275 worldwide. Guess what? The Expendables sequel made $315 million. Now, both of these movies were rated R. When Sylvester Stallone tried to take it back down to PG-13 to expand the audience, they got rid of all the blood, and basically he made the Expendables 3, and the 3rd one only made $215 million. It didn't expand. 50 Cent, however, would make the Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, a sequel that would go on to feature Dave Bautista. So Arnold left the Escape Plan movie. I'm just pointing it out there. Now, at this point, 50 Cent had said it all came full circle. The Expendables 4, 50 Cent is going to be in the Expendables 4. They've already shot it. 50 said there's no release date thus far on it. But let's be real. About the Expendables 4. At this point, the franchise is in a decline. Sylvester Stallone did something right in making this movie franchise, but he kind of torpedoed himself, y'all. He kind of torpedoed himself when he went against the nature of the film. Nope. Oh, yeah, that's what's up, Detarius. Appreciate you for tapping in. And no, it was 2000. Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. So it was before I self-destruct. Damn, you're right. I don't know your screen name, but you're right. That was 2007. The Before I Self-Destruct album was 2009. So there's my correction on that. Excuse me, and can't pronounce your name. Sorry, but I definitely appreciate you correcting me, man. Much love. Much love on that. Because, yeah, 2007 was actually Curtis. September, when he faced up against Graduation. And then he would release 2 years later, Before I Self-Destruct. So I appreciate that correction there. Yep. So it wasn't even Curtis. It wasn't even the Money album Curtis, which sold less than 50's other albums, 691,000 first week. It was actually Before I Self-Destruct. Wow, I really can't believe that. That's absolutely crazy, because that album would only sell like 100 and something thousand, 180 or 160,000. So 50 was also, 50 was asked about wishes. 50 said in 03, if you asked me just one wish, I would have asked for the record to be a success. Get Rich or Die Trying. He would have wished for that album to be a success. That album was a major success, you guys. Get Rich or Die Trying would go on, or Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday, in the club. 50 would say that sold 13 million copies. I'm not sure if he meant that as a whole, as an album at this point. Probably so, though. What an amazing feat with his debut album. Closely followed by The Massacre. Not all the way there, but closely followed. But if you ask me, 50 said he would ask to get more wishes. If you ask me, a lot of 50 Cent's wishes were granted. You know what I mean? When 50 Cent got the opportunity to release a group album, his wish was granted. When 50 Cent's first solo G Unit artist came out, Lloyd Banks selling 400,000+ records first week. I think one of his wishes was granted when Young Buck didn't flop after dropping Let Me In. And Buck sold like 260,000 first week and would go on to go damn near double platinum. Buck looked like the next biggest rapper from the South. You know what I'm saying? Buck said, I can carry the weight, 50, put it on my shoulders. Buck, 50 tried to put the weight on your shoulders. 50 wanted Young Buck to be Lil Wayne, you guys. 50 wanted Young Buck to be as big as Lil Wayne. 50 was asked if some people tried to make amends. You know what I mean? 97.9. Salute to them for doing this amazing interview with 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? These guys got down to a lot of the details about the shows. You know what I mean? And they just bullshitted with 50 and had a good time. But they asked him about people trying to make amends. Who's been hitting you up, Fifth, and making amends? Let's talk about it. 50 Cent was going to get down to it. He said, when you're in the driver's seat, a lot of times, every time something goes wrong, it's your fault. If you ask an artist why his career didn't go the way they want, it's the record label. I happened to become the record label. 50 said, I happened to become the record label. That's right, you guys. 50 Cent became the record label by design. 50 Cent wanted to be the record label by design, you guys. He mapped it out like that. It was ingenious. At this point in time, I truly believe 50 Cent should have a fully functioning record label. I think 50 should have a fully functioning record label, you guys, as well as a movie production company, as well, you guys, as well as a TV production company. That's 3 different joints right there. You know what I mean? That's 3 different joints right there. That is 3 different joints right there that 50 Cent should legitimately have going. Now, we all go through mishaps in our career. You know what I mean? 50 Cent's movie career really was tumbling. And on top of that, 50 Cent should be a movie star, right? On top of that, 50 Cent should honestly be a movie star. So he should really have and then he should have his rap career going too. But it kind of all got misjointed. It misplaced. And now 50 is actually just in charge of the television endeavors. And he's doing a hell of a job at it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can't really wear so many hats. You know, sometimes it's not right to wear so many hats. Listen to all them things I was just saying, man. Listen to all them things that I was expecting from 50 Cent right there, you guys. What's up? What's up? Appreciate everybody for tuning in. So, getting back to it, 50 Cent said, I happen to become the record label. So all of those artists that were around that didn't do exactly what they were supposed to do, it's my fault because they give it to me individually. It's not the company, it's him. They watch to point out one specific. So 50's about to get into specifics here, you guys. 50 is about to get into specifics here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Make sure you hit that like button when you're tuning in here. Make sure you share this video. Let them know Mikey T is going live. 50 Cent went in on some of the past G-Unit failures, you all. He went in on some of the past issues that he had with G-Unit as a label when people would come up to him and place the blame. They would place the blame not so much on themselves. They wouldn't put it on themselves for not generating the heat. You know what I mean? They would put it on 50, just like they would put it on the label. Oh, I didn't get the promotion I deserved. I didn't get the promotion that was due to me as an artist. That's how I've heard it before in interviews. You know what I mean? I've heard many artists say this before in interviews that I've watched. So 50 just has to deal with this because he's the CEO. You know what I mean? 50's actually dealing with it as the CEO. Oh, yeah, you're right. I should roll up. I should roll up. Let's do it. Let's get a poll going on here. Let me see. I'm putting up a poll right now, you guys. I want to know the biggest. Let's see. Everybody share this video. We're live, y'all. I want to know the biggest G Unit failure. Put it in the chat. Put your vote in the chat right now, y'all. Put your vote in the chat right now. I want to know the biggest G Unit failure in your opinion. 50 Cent is going in here, you guys. For everyone just tuning in, 50 Cent is actually addressing the past issues with G Unit Records. He's like, every time something goes wrong, it's your fault. If you ask an artist why his career didn't go the way they want, it's the record label. I happen to become the record label. So all those artists that were around that didn't do exactly what they were supposed to do, it's my fault because they give it to me individually. It's not the company, it's him. They watch, to point out one specific, Spider Loke. Spider Loke, he was angry with me. If he had a hit, it would have worked. That just didn't work. Let's talk about Spider Loke as an artist under G Unit Records. Let's talk about the artist that you dubbed. You dubbed Spider Loke the West Kept Secret. You told all of the G Unit fans. You told all of the G Unit fans about who Spider Loke was. To put it a little bit further, you introduced all of the G Unit fans to Spider Loke on the Thoughts of a Predicate Felon album. Everybody knows Spider Loke was running around with Young Buck. We saw it on the DVDs. We saw him popping up right behind Young Buck. It made sense to all of the G Unit fans. When 50 Cent started ThisIs50.com, one of the first questions, and I know because I was in that room, a couple of the first questions were asked in there about Spider Loke. A couple of the first questions in that room asked about Spider Loke. Would it have been so hard to embrace the West Coast? Fifth, you had everybody eating out of your hand. But you know what? I don't think the blame could go on 50. I don't think the blame could go on 50 because Interscope slowed up on 50 Cent, you guys. It was Interscope that actually slowed up on 50 Cent. Interscope that stopped releasing the projects. 1 year, Interscope released 4 G Unit albums. When they dropped Curtis, when they dropped Buck the World, when they dropped hold on one second. No. When they dropped The Massacre, the documentary, Thoughts of a Predicate Felon, and then the Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack in 2005. Two of those projects, Spider Loke was featured on. The Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack. I believe he was featured on 2 cuts on that record. So please don't tell me about something that couldn't have worked. something that wasn't going to work. I watched it all play out as a fan. I watched it all. I know why Tony Yayo's project didn't work. Because they pushed the album back from June 27th to August 27th, and they made all of us wait. There wasn't going to be 400,000 people waiting. 216,000 of them waited. Sal says, I F with Spider. Yeah, Spider Loke. So I think 50. Let me see what he said here. 50 said if he had a hit, it would have worked. That just didn't work. I seem to remember a song that was released way too late. And I'm not talking about Blutiful, because Spider Loke set it off with Blutiful, proving that he could do something on his own. I'm talking about the California record that wasn't released until mad years later. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the California record with 50 Cent and Spider Loke. Had they actually released music together, maybe it would have worked. But, in all honesty, 50 Cent was bitten. You know what I mean? He got bit. You know what I mean? 50 was showing everybody love. You know what I mean? 50 was showing everybody love, and then dudes wanted to turn their back on him. Dudes wanted to fall back and not be rappers anymore. Dudes probably wanted to be upset that they weren't as famous. You know what I'm saying? If the shoe fits, wear it. You know what I'm saying? If the shoe fits, wear it. Yeah, nah, Yayo eventually went platinum with the Thoughts of a Predicate Felon album. No, that's big facts, man. Yep, Cloud, I love the Blood Money album. Hell yeah, I love both of Young Buck's albums. Two amazing albums. You know what I mean? We saw what happened with Hot Rod. Hot Rod joining up with G Unit, getting the record with Mary J. Blige. And I'm not trying to send a shot at Hot Rod, but within 2 or 3 years, Hot Rod was working with like Tequila. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Fifth. You got to have a little bit better intuition than that. You know what I'm saying? But in all honesty, I mean, whose fault is it for the Be Easy record going nowhere? A lot of people consider it cheesy. A lot of people say, why the hell didn't the record go anywhere? So, yeah, let's get back into it here. So, 50 also brought up OT Genesis. I had him for a record. After the record didn't work, he went and made a record. I'm in love with the Coco. That's why me and him have the best relationship. Listen to this. 50 and OT Genesis have the best relationship ever because he was let go to go do that. And I just want to say 50 Cent has a proven history. 50 Cent has a proven history of letting artists go to do their thing. Look what he did with Prodigy when Prodigy was going to go get locked up for a few years, 3 years to be exact, for his third possession charge. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about Lil Boosie. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about Little Boosie 3 marijuana charges. I'm talking about 3 ratchet charges for Prodigy. You know what I mean? So Prodigy actually got the okay from 50 Cent. Prodigy actually got the okay from 50 Cent to go on and release a couple solo projects. You know what I mean? If you look at what Havoc was doing while he was with G Unit, he was still free. If you look at what happened with MOP, once it looked like they weren't going to release an album, they were released. I haven't got their interview. You know what I mean? I would love to interview Fame. I'd love to interview Billy Danz and get their story. You know what I'm saying? I did get a chance to speak with Spider Loke before. That's obviously before I was doing all of this live podcast. That was before when I was doing phone interviews, actually, when that was the only way for me to connect with artists that were in, you know what I mean, Florida, when I was in Connecticut or California or Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Crunchy Black out in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I've been able to link up with a lot of people with this Zoom capability. So you guys should be expecting a lot more interviews from me. So OT Genesis got the big shout out from 50 Cent here, you guys, because OT Genesis got his release and then was able to go on and make a hit. Oh, y'all can go see the new 50 interview. All you got to go do is click it in. It was with 97.9. All the major websites got it up right now, bro. Pretty much all you got to go do is just type it up online, man. 50 Cent speaking on the new Power show, new BMF show, and these two G Unit topics. But I appreciate the super chat. KD, that's love, brother. Yeah, OT Genesis actually was able to release a major record after departing from his association with 50 Cent. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you get the chance to get game from somebody like 50 Cent, you know, if you get the opportunity to get that game, you're going to learn quite a bit. You're going to be around some power players. You might even meet a couple different managers who then have an extra level of respect for you. Oh, I've done seen OT running around. OT is really OT. OT is really OT with 50 Cent. You know what I mean? So we've seen a lot of people in that regard blow up. So let's look at the G Unit roster. The G Unit roster, 50 Cent pointed out 2 failed G Unit projects. Nothing really came together with OT the Genesis, even though they had a stellar setup for Spider Loke. Nothing came of the Spider Loke situation. You look back, you see the way that 50 presented his artist when Tony Yayo got out of jail. It all started with him being presented on Beg for Mercy in 2003. 2004, Tony Yayo was presented on The Hunger for More, as well as Straight Outta Cashville. Tony Yayo then was even promoted on the Games album, the documentary. And then he even caught a single on The Massacre. Only issue was they pushed his album back to June. That was the foundation for Yayo. He had all that extra buildup. Buck, Banks, they came in from all the touring. You know what I mean? They did, I want to say they did the Anger Management and the Rock the Mic tour. Am I correct on that, you guys? I know they did the Rock the Mic tour, but did they do the Anger Management tour as well? That's where a lot of the promotion and the publicity came from Lloyd Banks and Young Buck, gaining the word of mouth, seeing tens of thousands of fans. As Lloyd Banks said, Lloyd Banks went from performing in front of his own friends, his own, you know what I mean, people that he would know back in the day in Queens, to performing in front of completely random people. They just made that major jump. G-Unit made that epic jump from, you know, neighborhood celebrities to national celebrity really quick. You know, a lot of people will actually get a moment to float. You know what I mean? G-Unit just went right to the straight to the top, man. You know what I'm saying? 0 to 100. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into the Lloyd Banks game shit in just a second, you guys. Lloyd Banks and Buck, though, they had the promo. They were basically all over Beg for Mercy, and then it was evident that both of their solo albums were coming. Game was shouted out. Game got the cameo video appearance in the Club, right? Game was then shouted out on Beg for Mercy, on Poppin' Them Things, the second single. So Game got the shout out on that second single by name. After that Beg for Mercy was November of 03. Then we come to, Game gets featured when the chips are down on Lloyd Banks' album. Game replaces T.I. on Stomp in September of 04 before releasing his album January of 05. And also he did that promo for Certified Gangsters with Jim Jones. That's somewhere mixed in there as well. I believe that was really his first look. You know what I mean? So that's the Game story when it comes to his promotion. Now, Mobb Deep has an interesting one as well. You know what I mean? Where it was like Mobb Deep was actually spanned across a couple different projects. They were brought in for the Massacre re-release. Can somebody in the chat or put it in the comments, what was the release date for the Massacre re-release where they redid Out of Control, putting Mobb Deep on Out of Control, you guys? They put Mobb Deep on Out of Control remix, which was 100 times better than the original. Followed it up, you guys, with Have a Party off of the Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack. Look what 50 did there. The Massacre re-release, he drops Out of Control remix. Then we get Hollywood P, you know what I'm saying? Well, and Hollywood Have and VIP. And then we get him on Have a Party with Nate Dogg. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Prodigy. Jesus. Legends making legendary music. You know what I mean? That was it's hard. It's hard to go between Out of Control remix and Have a Party. But yeah, and then for their album, Blood Money, they get Put 'Em in Their Place. They get Baby with Young Buck. That was the presentation that Mobb Deep got for their album. I think that's an amazing presentation. So far, I think Yayo got the best one, though. So far, I think Yayo got the best one. What's up? Appreciate everybody tuning in. Everybody share this video. Let's get 100 people in here. Share this video. Oh, was it? Was it actually on the Blood Money album as well? I got that album. Was it on the deluxe version or something? Because I don't remember it being on my version of the Blood Money album. What's up, North Carolina? Appreciate you tapping in. Hit that like button. Share this video. So 50 was saying OT Genesis and him have the best relationship because of the fact that he was able to go on and make a big record after 50 Cent gave him his release. 50 Cent gave OT the Genesis his release after realizing he wasn't going anywhere with the label. So why hold him up? Why hold the young dude up who, you know what I mean? OT Genesis obviously got a little pep in his step. You know what I mean? OT Genesis came out with a record that was a smash hit. You know what I mean? I was going crazy to that shit in club. You know what I'm saying? I was going crazy to that shit, standing on the nightclubs, couches at Club Live, at Bamboo, at Mansion, at Dream, at Cameo, at Story. That's right. I was at all of them. That's why I'm the blogger that's outside you guys. Come mess with a blogger that actually be at all those nightclubs. I want any other blogger to come on here and say he stood standing on couches at Club Live. Please. Standing on couches at Mansion, Dream, Cameo. Let me know. Tag me in the blogger that says he does all that shit too. Tag me in the blogger that does all that shit too. We going. We off it now tonight, you guys. So, 50 said about OT Genesis, he went on and he made his money. 50 said the other people, they be upset because they feel like they could have did it if you did it for me. So it's your fault. I could have did it. I could have did it if you did it for me. I could have been in charge of thisis50.com if 50 Cent gave me the job. That's 100% accurate. But let's be realistic, you guys. Let's be realistic. 50 Cent did On Fire for Lloyd Banks, right? 50 Cent did On Fire for Lloyd Banks. It produced massive success. On Fire went on to do massive numbers. Some say as high as 536,000 units in a short week worldwide. 440,000 in the States. 440,000 in the States. Nonetheless, a major number. Lloyd Banks came out, major number for On Fire. Then we come back 2 years later with Hands Up. Hands Up, if you want to party with me, it goes way past 2:45. I was thinking about that the other day. You're right, Fifth. You're right. If you want to party with Mike T, we're going way past 2:45. In reality, you guys, the stars don't need, I'm giving you guys some inside knowledge. None of the other bloggers tell you this shit. Academics ain't telling you this shit, but he lives it. Academics is probably the only other blogger that goes out to the nightclubs like I do and shit. Academics knows the rappers, they don't show up to the nightclub until at least 2:45. They're literally, if you're in Miami partying, the party's not getting started till 3 a.m. So you know what? When you're doing your thing, make sure you're getting them couches extra dirty. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're getting your liquor service from the girl while she's showing you all the attention there before the big boys get to the club. Make sure you do all that. You know, I'm just giving you guys a little bit of game because you do get that moment to do all that shit before the big boys show up from 3 to 5 a.m. and then they turn all the lights on. That's how that shit be going, man. And that shit be lit up in there. That shit be lit up in there in them clubs. So, for everyone just tuning in, 50 Cent was basically breaking down how when you're in the driver's seat, a lot of times, every time something goes wrong, it's your fault. 50 said, every time something goes wrong, it's your fault. 50 said, I happened to become the record label. So all the artists that were around that didn't do exactly what they were supposed to do, it's my fault because they give it to me individually. It's not the company, it's him. They watch to point out one specific spider. Spider-Loke, 50 Cent said. He was angry with me. If he had a hit, it would have worked. That just didn't work. Look at OT Genesis. I had him for a record. After the record didn't work, he went on and made a record. I'm in love with the Coco. That's why me and him have the best relationship. Listen to that, you guys. We see that sometimes. You know what I mean? We do see that sometimes. But you got to understand, when OT Genesis came around, it was a different time. When Spider-Loke was around G Unit, there was not as much media out there. You know what I mean? We've seen what Spider-Loke has done in recent years, really taking over all of this YouTube shit. You know what I mean? Back when Spider-Loke and Young Buck and all them were doing the G Unit thing, it was about selling units. Dudes weren't thinking that they were going to come on the internet and be talking all this shit and generating all this views and this income and making this, because podcasting is everything. Podcasting is almost as lucrative as albums, as Gilly the Kid said. But back then it was about selling the units. I was even coming in the game to be an A&R. Mikey T, the movie star publishing. It's still going to happen. Shit's still in the making. You know what I'm saying? But this shit is just catching up with everything else. Shout out to Math Hoffa. Million follower Math. Please. Million follower Math. Yeah. So 50 explained what happens sometimes. Nowadays, when an artist is able to run around with 50 and get all the social media presentation, not sometimes, all the time, when an artist runs around with somebody that's bigger than him and he doesn't end up inking them in a deal, he becomes the media frenzy. He becomes the sensation. And then if he has a record, you know what I mean? Then if he has a record, it's a whole nother ball game. Let's be real. If he actually gets a record, it's a whole nother ball game. It is a bidding war. It then becomes a bidding war. Yeah, that new Course of the Inevitable 2 by Lloyd Banks is out right now. That joint is actually fire. Lloyd Banks, 2 albums within 2 years. Really impressive products from Lloyd Banks over the last few years. So 50's like, that's why me and OT Genesis have the best relationship ever, because he was let go to go and do that. He went on and he made a hit and he made his money. 50 said the other people be upset because they feel like they could have did it. If you did it for me, so it's your fault you didn't make the people. I can't make the people buy records. And that's what I was pointing out about Lloyd Banks' first album single and his second album single. And everybody just saying, oh, if it was Mikey T, the movie star, featuring 50 Cent, and 50 was on the hook, Mikey T's record would be through the roof. You know what I mean? People thinking like that, it's kind of backwards. Look at what Banks' first album did, 440,000, compared to his second album, which had the same style of 50 Cent hook. He did 300,000 units less, you guys. He sold 300,000 units less. It's not necessarily about having 50 Cent do your hook every time. It's about growing as an artist. You know what I mean? If the people don't see growth, they're not going to purchase the product. You know what I mean? That's why I think the rebirth of Lloyd Banks right now is such a major thing. You know what I mean? He's getting an opportunity to show growth from within his music at an appropriate time, within an appropriate time frame. You know what I mean? The time frame that we got from The Hunger for More to Rotten Apple was inappropriate. As a fan, we forgot the artist. We forgot who we were listening to. You know, we lost touch. And that was one of the major faults of Lloyd Banks' second album. You know what I mean? Do I call that a G Unit failure? I mean, you can't call Lloyd Banks a G Unit failure. No matter what way you look at it, Lloyd Banks has been one of the most lucrative music artists, you know what I mean, in the game. Look how many shows he's done a year. It's pretty evident that people want to see Lloyd Banks, even to the last few years. You know what I mean? The last few years, I actually went to a Lloyd Banks show. People are still filling up the clubs for Lloyd Banks. It's pretty dope. Yeah. Yep. So let's see. What do we got here? So 50 said they said I was fat. Oh, Jesus. 50 actually addressed everyone saying he was fat at the Super Bowl, actually going as far to compare 50 Cent to Bizarre. Shout out to my bro Bizarre, but I mean, that was just bizarre. You know what I mean? But I know why they did that, because Bizarre actually had the comedy video where he popped up upside down. Lose Yourself video, I was in the back. You know what I mean? That type shit. Well, I mean, so 50 also spoke on a horror movie he's got going on. Okay. 50 said he's working with two of the people that had produced the last couple Saw movies on his horror movie. I had heard a few weeks ago that somebody fainted on the set of 50 Cent's horror movies. Shameless plug. My brother's new film Slapface is actually out right now on Shudder. So 50, if you're doing some horror movie shit, let's go. We can run up some numbers over here. I actually got the perfect horror movie director for you to work with. My brother's the king of horror right now. I mean, all due respect to Eli Roth, all due respect to Jordan Peele. The name on the scene right now, and I want y'all to remember it, is Jeremiah Kipp. That's my brother right there. And he just did Slapface, which is making a lot of lists right now for the top horror movie of the year and shit. So yeah, put some respect on that, Fifth. You know, Fifth is jumping into some horror movie shit, and that's respectable, man. I hope 50 turns that into a big money-making opportunity. I had heard LeBron James was actually introduced or interested in producing the Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th films. So LeBron James as well, if you're really interested in doing that, I've got the perfect director for you. LeBron James is cool as hell too, man. I mean, I actually was cruising around. Actually, my boys actually used to mess with a couple people that messed with his family and shit like that, man. And it looked like they got a really cool vibe. Shout out to my brother Itzmatic. He always puts me around the dopest people. Thank you, Lou Boy. Slapface was pretty good. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, Slapface is catching some buzz right now. Yeah, Braun is a good dude, man. You know what I'm saying? They actually had the stretch limo pulled out, you know what I mean? At one of the, I can't remember, it was some event. It was some event, you guys, and I'm not sure if it was a sports or a music event that we was at. It was so long ago in Miami. So many years ago. I guess LeBron must have been playing for Miami at that point too. I actually covered one of Lloyd Banks' last show. Great opportunity for any of the. I mean, shit, you can see Lloyd Banks shows. He actually did another show in February as well. So let's move on from there. Like I said, 50 didn't put a date on the Expendables 4, but it's cool to see that come in full circle, as he said. 50 was actually supposed to be a part of the Expendables 1, didn't get to be in it. Terry Crews ended up taking his role. Expendables was actually a movie at this point that has grossed like, what would that be? The first one 275, second one 315, so that's 500, that's 590. Then what's that? Then he had another 215. So that's 5, that's 6, that's 800 million. We're talking about 800 plus $1 million worth of box office right now between 3 films. Also, they did a video game around it as well. 50 said, I still want to make music. Sometimes I give them to those that's around. I say, do it like this. I think the hip hop part of hip hop is the youth culture. I don't think you're supposed to have the hottest verse at 50 years old. I think that 16-year-old kid, that guy should be thinking and do what is keeping the culture thriving so it grows to a new energy. Shit. When I heard 50 say that, I was like, yo, I can totally agree with what 50 is saying here. Just watching back that scene and Get Rich or Die Trying when 50 Cent was actually singing with his mom. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, damn. I was like, wow, just watching him sing with his mom right there actually shows me the course in which he can change the music industry. You know what I mean? A lot of people go with the cliche theme of 50 Cent taking singing from Ja Rule, but I mean, the man was surrounded with singing his whole life. You know what I mean? What is somebody going to do when they can't afford to get the hottest people in the game singing their hooks, but they have a little bit of vocal range? You know what I mean? They're going to take advantage of that, man. So I'm going to call that out right now. I'm going to call that out right now. I'm calling that out as cliche, you guys. I'm calling that out as cliche. But let me take a look at the poll. Let me see. Who are we thinking is the biggest G Unit failure? Wow, it's looking like Hot Rod and Olivia are in the first 2 positions. Vote in the poll right now if you haven't. Vote in that poll. Vote in that poll right now. Vote in the poll right now. We got another topic to go over. Wack 100 and Compton Menace came to a clubhouse and connected. So Wack is like, they told me you was waiting outside of my studio. I said, Compton Menace outside my studio? Compton Menace outside of my studio means I'm that much more all right. Menace is like, first off, I would never pull up to someone's establishment unannounced. Menace shutting down those rumors ASAP. Wack is like, Menace, let me ask you a question. If you needed some studio time and that studio was there and open and you pulled up to the studio, you just at the homie studio. Menace is like, yeah, you for sure the homie, Wack. Menace said he is one of the first people out there with a Harley Davidson deal. It's official, which is kind of crazy. I didn't know that. We're going to get a little bit more into that. Compton Menace will mention that in just a second. Compton Menace and Wack were going over it about some shit that I didn't really know what the hell they were talking about. They were talking about some issues they had over somebody representing Compton Menace. But Wack at the end of it came around. Menace has been around a long time. You know what I'm saying? Wack is like, but I'm going to respect your call. You make sure as soon as she does that weird shit, as soon as somebody does some weird shit, Wack 100 is ready to just expose. You know what I mean? Man, it's like, shout out to the Harley. Shout out to Harley. We the CVO boys now. It's the CVO boys. Shout out to Menace, the CVO boys. That's a movement right there. Menace is my OG. That's my brother right there. Menace has always held me down since the time we first met. You know what I'm saying? Put me in positions to be around Birdman. Put me in positions to meet Busta Rhymes. Be in the same vicinity as Lil Wayne. I'll always hold down Compton Menace. Menace is a real one. You could tell by the way he started off this conversation. Menace was like, I would never show up to somebody's spot unannounced. I would never show up to someone's establishment unannounced. Menace has a little bit too much respect for himself to do something like that. You know, Menace has really changed the way that he is. If you look now, you see that he's actually taking his roles in films and really flipped that to a whole nother level that I don't think anybody could have ever expected. I'm watching a movie. I'm sitting down watching a movie with the dude from Barbershop. You know what I mean? The one who bagged Eve. And in pops Compton Menace, kicking ass and loading up shotties. All types of shit, man. So this is what I'm on tonight, you guys. That good, you heard. So Wack is like, I know you used to ride them dirt bikes with game. You ride Harleys? Menace is like, yeah, I ride Harleys. I used to ride my uncle's dirt bike. Wack is like, oh, okay. Y'all was running around on them high boosters and all them other crazy shits back in the day. When I got too many big deals going on, I don't F with them bikes. I agree. I don't mess with them bikes either, man. I could agree with that, man. When you got a big deal going on, you ain't gonna be wanting 50 Cent signing the Get Rich or Die Trying deal for Shady Aftermath, M and Dre. I don't think 50 is riding around on those crazy bikes at that point. You know what I mean? Let's just be real. So Manny was like, yo, we're going to get you on the Road Glide. Wack is like, what's the one with the headlights? Menace is like, the Road Glide. He's like, me and Wack been through a lot of shit. We know we not stepping on each other's toes. I ain't going to lie, Wack. I said we had disagreements, but Wack ain't no buster. I ain't going to lie, Wack. I said we had disagreements, but Wack ain't no buster. Compton Menace just hit it right there. He just said, Wack ain't no buster. They had disagreements. They had past issues. Maybe little things that they beefed over. Yo, man, Game doesn't want you to come to the show. I want to perform at the show, though. I hold Game down. You're right. You're right. You hold Game down. I got to give you that. Make sure you're here about 15 minutes early. You come perform at the show. Wack said this. You know how many times I got cussed out behind this dude when him and Game started beefing? You know how many times I got cussed out behind this dude when him and Game started beefing? Compton Menace beef with the Game. Wack 100 in the middle. Menace is like, let's tell the truth if we're going to talk. Wack is like, Menace would call me. Why can't I open up? Who said you can't open up? I know they're going through it, so Menace could come open up and I'd catch an earful for it. Menace was like, I still got to appreciate Game. Wack is like, one thing I always had in my back pocket is that he laid his life down on multiple occasions. Menace is like one of the only ones. Real talk. They can't take that from you. That's one thing you can't take from Menace, man. The fact that he was loyal. You know what I mean? I already know it because I know he was one of the first people repping for the Black Wall Street. You know what I mean? When Game was putting together his label, the Black Wall Street, and I thought that was the label coming to G Unit, I thought Compton Menace was a part of that label. I thought what's his name? Was his name Rockstar? I thought Juice was a part of that label. You know what I mean? Oh, no, it was Your Boy. Excuse me. Your Boy was dope. I was always wondering, like, is his name really going to be Your Boy, though? His name can't be Your Boy. There can't be a rapper just named Your Boy. But in all honesty, now there could. So Menace popped up out of there. He was like, I love y'all. No disrespect. Menace also said he's working on some kind of a celebrity boxing match as well, which is interesting. Very, very interesting to note that Menace is working on a celebrity boxing. So, the Game's new album, let's talk about it. Drillmatic. Drillmatic dropping August 12th. Will the Drillmatic album drop August 12th? That's what I'm wondering. You guys, I'm wondering, will the Drillmatic album drop August 12th? I'm wondering if it'll drop. Game has had a couple dates thus far for this album. A couple dates which he has not been able to make. A couple dates which he hasn't been able to make. August 12th is literally 13 days away. So let me see. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Hit that like button. Vote in the poll. I'm about to take the poll down in a minute. I'm about to take the poll down in a minute. So everybody vote in the poll. Vote in the poll right now. Oh yeah, we going over that freestyle now. We're going over the Game's recent freestyle. Because the Game had to take some shots at G Unit, right? I'm a G, but a G you not. I'm a G, but a G you not. All right. Let me roll up this runch, you guys. So the Game, like, yo, man. Y'all don't get the Game effed up. Don't get the Game effed up. Y'all must think he's Lloyd Banks or Young Buck. Don't get the Game effed up. Y'all must think he's Lloyd Banks or Young Buck. Let's get it. Let's get it in the chat. I'm putting up a poll right now. I'm putting up a poll. Game is dissing Buck and Banks. Let's get it. Come on, let's get it. I want to know who's the best. We got 3 rappers from 3 different areas. We got the South. We got the West Coast. We got the South. We got the West Coast. We got the East Coast. Don't get Mikey T effed up. I couldn't think of any bloggers to rhyme with that. Sorry, guys. But don't get the Game effed up. He's not Lloyd Banks or Young Buck. Let's go over this right quick. I got to roll up. He said, you got me effed up. They must think I'm Lloyd Banks or Young Buck. Don't press your dumb luck. I got my gun tucked because I don't like how they did Nip. I guess it's time to show them what it is. Lyrically, miraculously, spiritually, here in the flesh. How I'm not top 5. Dudes appear to be death. So that rhyme right there, that whole lyrically, miraculously, spiritually. A lot of times it seems like rappers will do that just so they could go somewhere else with a rap. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like lyrically, miraculously, spiritually. Y'all don't want it seriously. Y'all don't want to mess with me seriously. I'm going to leave you laying deliriously. But Game actually comes a lot better than that, man. Game is one of the best MCs. I really like how Game can literally rap for like 5 minutes long. He's like, so I throw up the gang signs. You understand me now? Keep sleeping. I'll put you where you can't be found, where you can't rest, where you can rest eternally, and you can hear a sound. And your oldest song is the head of your family now. And your oldest son is, and your oldest son is the head of your family now. He stopped the dissing at that point, you guys. He wasn't really dissing anybody there. You see, the game is just going into bars. He said, I'm on some bigger shit. Hit make the beat, then I can get on some jigger shit. Cause when I hear the lock, I'm getting involved. If I get a rock chain from the middle of the mall. Cause when I hear the lock, I'm getting involved. If I gotta get a rock chain from the middle of the mall. That's cool. Game throwing it back to the old days. I could picture Game going to the mall back in the days and getting one of the rock chains. I could picture the Game in the old days wearing a rock chain, going to the mall and buying a rock chain. Go back to them days when you was throwing up the rock and shit like that. Appreciate you, Hefe. I appreciate you, brother. Expect more live streams from Mikey T, the movie star. Make sure you expect more episodes of the Mikey T, the movie star podcast. Just share the word, my guy. I'm rolling up some runts right now. Rolling up some runts. The live is still going. So this was crazy how he just started it off. You know what I mean? Being like, y'all got me effed up. They must think I'm Lloyd Banks, a young buck. Don't press your dumb luck. I got my gun tucked because I don't like how they did Nip. I guess it's time to show them what it is. Lyrically, miraculously, spiritually, here in the flesh. How I'm not top 5. Dudes appear to be death. How I'm not top 5. Yeah, a lot of people don't give Game that credit for being top 5. Let's be real. A lot of people don't give Game that credit for being top 5. Does anybody in the chat have Game in their top 5? Tell me right now. Because I don't even have Game in my top 10. So listen what he says. How I'm not top 5. Dudes appear to be death. So I throw up gang signs. You understand me now? Keep sleeping. I'll put you where you can't be found. Where you can rest eternally. And you can't hear a sound. And your oldest son is the head of your family now. I'm on some bigger shit. Hit make the beat, then I get on some jigger shit. Cause when I hear the lock, I'm getting involved. If I gotta get a rock chain from the middle of the mall. Ain't no competition, so Kendrick went to Africa. Ain't no competition, Cole went and got his baskets up. But I'm here masking up with the masking tape. Fiends knocking on the door. We close, don't ask for yay. Okay, I like that part right there. Because right there, you see what he does. You know what I mean? There ain't no competition. So Kendrick went to Africa. There ain't no competition. So Cole went and got his baskets up. Two of the best right there. One under Dre, one under Jay. And yeah, man, you know, a lot of people look at them as the GOATs, two of the GOATs. You know what I mean? Game's in a different caliber, Game's in a different category of them. Obviously, the Game came out before those rappers. You know what I mean? But if they're gonna go hibernate, the Game's gonna come out and play, it seems. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, so here we go. He goes, fiends knocking on the door, we close. Don't ask for yay. You know, obviously using Ye's name like that. See an aftermath chain? Then don't ask for Dre. I'm a legend now. F when I pass away. I'm a legend now. F when I pass away. You see an aftermath chain? Then don't ask for Dre. I'm a legend now. F when I pass away. Oh my God. He said, look around. It's like we still in the 80s. Everybody with the shit, it's like a billion to babies. I've been drilling for this feeling. My adrenaline saved me. I'm the Black Slim Shady. I've been killing them lately. Drillmatic, August 12th, Game was like, I'm out of here. The Game killed it, man. I got to admit, the Game always does this thing. The Game always does this thing when it comes to these freestyles. I got to give him his credit. You know what I mean? The shots at G Unit, I mean, the shot at G Unit, really? Really? You got to take a shot at a couple of guys. Y'all got me effed up. They must think I'm Lloyd Banks or Young Buck. What do you mean? First of all, what do you mean? Lloyd Banks has put out 2 albums in 2 years. Second of all, Lloyd Banks probably had a bigger single than the Game has had in several years. I don't know if Game has had. Somebody tell me, was All Eyes on Me bigger than Beamer, Benz, or Bentley? I don't think so. But All Eyes on Me was probably actually like 2015. The G Unit reunion? Never heard that Game single. Yeah, but you could say Beamer, Benz, or Bentley is hotter than All Eyes on Me, but we got to look at the facts of when they were released. If one was released like 4 years after the other. Let me get this run lit up, you guys. Let me know what you're smoking in the chat if you're blazing. Let me know what you're smoking if you're blazing in the chat. Game came out. You know what? The best way to promote his album, Drillmatic, was with a rap. He decided he had to go at Lloyd Banks and Young Buck. He decided he had to go on California radio and mess some shit up. Now, he didn't mess up any more of his relationship with 50 Cent. He didn't mess up any more of his relationship with 50 Cent. He just decided to go against Lloyd Banks and Young Buck. He decided to go against them, his colleagues on the label. He didn't even mention, you guys, he didn't even mention Tony Yayo. I think that's because he always said he had a more of a respect for Tony Yayo. I think he always said like Tony Yayo was from the street. Tony Yayo was actually like the only person he featured on the album as well. Okay, we got some strawberry wedding cake. Okay, that's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. Let me know what you're smoking in the chat. Yup, obviously One Blood from the Game. But that's not what I'm talking about, bro. Because One Blood is like a record from the Game that you would actually put up against one of Lloyd Banks' second album singles. You know what I mean? You would put that up against Cake, or you would put that up against Hands Up, or you'd put that up against Help. You know what I mean? You'd put those records up against one another. Well, Hate It or Love It, you would put up against I'm So Fly. On Fire, you would put up against How We Do. And Game would probably take both of those, right, guys? Let me take a look at the poll since we're speaking on this so intricately, man. 52% for the Game. Well, all right, so let me see. Hulk says, remember when the Game threw his G-Unit chain at the Summer Jam? He could have made Joe Montana come out of retirement. Yo, like, look what he says here. He's like, yo, Game is like, fiends knocking on the door. We close. Don't ask for yay. See an aftermath chain, and then Game pulled his chains to the side. He said, see an aftermath chain, then don't ask for Dre. I mean, Game, let's be realistic, man. Let's be realistic, man. We all saw the first chain that you were wearing. We all know that the Game was wearing the NWA chain. We all know that the Game's first album was going to be called NWA, in homage to the group. You know what I mean? Okay, that's a good concept. That's not a $5 million selling concept, though. I'm sorry. It's not a $5 million selling concept. It's a little tired. You know, I'm sorry. No disrespect to all the OGs, you know what I mean, in the game that love that style of music. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it was a little tired. The game's project needed a little freshening up from 50 Cent. I think it's 100% evident. I don't think we see How We Do. How We Do does not end up on that classic NWA game album. No, that's freshening up. That's freshening up. Hate it or love it? Maybe. Maybe. Where that came from, the personal stories of 50 Cent, nobody asked 50 that question, though. I mean, 50 did talk about the fact that he said, growing up, I was young, I was confused, my mama kissing a girl. Okay, but you put that personal reflection on somebody else's album? All right, sounds a little odd to me. I'm going to put one of the most personal of my reflections on somebody else's single. All right, that makes all the sense in the world to me. That goes back into what we were talking about earlier, when artists will run around with bigger artists, never end up signing to them, and then blowing up like Young Thug. You know what I mean? But Young Thug had actually signed another deal before, so he was pretty tied up. Art, I went over this a little bit earlier. Art says 50 Cent couldn't write more hooks or hits for the rest of G Unit. I went over this a little bit earlier. You know, the whole 50 Cent thing with writing your hook, it's only going to work so far. You know what I mean? Look where it took Lloyd Banks to having 500,000 sales in a week. But then on his next album, he only sold 150,000 first week. You know what I mean? Based off the same style of single. Okay, what are we doing this month? We're putting out a G Unit album. Oh, do we have the 50 Cent hook ready? Yes, we have the 50 Cent hook ready. No, that's not how it should go every time, you guys. You've got the fan base here. I need to take some of this advice from myself, right? You got the fan base here. They don't want the same thing. What are you selling? Coca-Cola? What are you selling? Hershey's chocolate? What are you selling? Ribeye steak? You know what I mean? Any of these things that people will naturally buy. What are you selling? 2% milk? No, you're selling an album. If you want to sell another one, you're going to have to make it a completely different product. You know what I mean? You got to make it a completely different, or else they're going to go back and buy the original. Being an artist is a totally different thing. Okay, let's just do another 50 Cent hook. It's only going to work so many times. You know what I mean? It's only going to work so many times. The Real Prophecy said 50's verses were better on How We Do or Hate It or Love It. Wouldn't Get Far was a dope single as well. I agree with you on that. Wouldn't Get Far that was the best song that Kanye West actually did with the game. Yeah, the game followed up the Doctor's Advocate with LAX, the Red Nation album, the Jesus Peace album. What was after the Jesus Peace album, you guys? I know he had another one. Oh, the documentary too. He also had the Year of the Wolf before that, leading up to it. Then he had the 1992 album, which I enjoyed, actually. That's when I got back in after the documentary. I got back in. Then he had Born to Rap, and now he has Drillmatic. The game is got a lot of talent. I'm not here to deny that whatsoever. I'm not denying the game has talent. I'm not denying I'm a fan of the game, a fan of Young Buck, a fan of Lloyd Banks. There's projects I love from all these guys. There are songs that I still play to this day from all of these guys. You know what I mean? Album cuts, singles, features, however you want to look at it. You know what I mean? They all have a piece of hip hop history. Look at Young Buck's work with UTP, but more importantly, look at his work with 3-6 Mafia. One is there for the underground fan, another one is there for the commercial fan right there in front of you. There's a lot of things that we can look at, man. There's a lot of things that we can look at from all different types of perspectives. 50 Cent speaking on a couple of the G Unit failures. I mean, you look at the scenarios that played out, there's a few more he didn't touch on. He didn't touch on Hot Rod. You know, he didn't touch on the fact that he wasn't able to sign Mace to a deal. He didn't touch on the fact that MOP never got to drop any albums with the label. You know what I mean? Even though it seemed to be a cool ass pairing. You know what I mean? He didn't touch on Olivia. You know what I mean? But he touched on a few. You know what I mean? He touched on the Spider-Loaf project that I think a lot of us wish we got. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us wish we would have got that effort from 50 Cent putting out another West Coast artist. You know what I mean? Because after the West Coast, you know, the lights over on the West Coast dimmed, you know what I mean, with what happened with Suge Knight and all of those situations, and a focus wasn't being placed on the West Coast. You know what I mean? When 50 and Dre came together and put out the game, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more come from all of that. You know what I mean? I would have liked to have seen them continue to expand on the West Coast front. But obviously, Dr. Dre would go on to bring in Kendrick Lamar onto the scene. You know what I'm saying? All the whole TDE, you know what I mean? The West Coast really has had a resurgence in all different spectrums, whether it comes to voices on the internet, whether it comes to artists, whether it comes to labels, you know what I'm saying? So the West Coast has had their resurgence. That's why I said a little bit earlier, I really feel like right now the industry is kind of like, you know, well spread out. You know what I mean? People are blowing up from Florida, people are blowing up from Atlanta, New York, the Carolinas, people are blowing up from, you know what I'm saying, Chicago, people are blowing up from Vegas, California. It's a pretty widespread out thing right now, man. Uh, 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 uh. Legendary says G Unit West and G Unit South could have been something huge. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen those labels. I would have liked to have seen those labels actually do something. I would have liked to have seen the Black Wall Street and Cashville Records actually go on to, you know, drop a few artists. But if we're being honest, man, it really didn't seem like Young Buck had anybody to drop. You know what I mean? If we're just being 100% honest, it didn't seem like Young Buck had anybody to drop. You know what I mean? Like they had, who did they have over there? Snoopy Blue, maybe, or something like that? Or was it High C or something like that? Um, the Young Buck would go on to sign the Outlaws, and that seemed a little bit odd. You know what I mean? Shout out to my guy Noble and all that from the Outlaws, but you know, it just seemed a little bit odd. You know what I mean? Slang said, my guy Slang Music said that Mobb Deep album was hard too. Oh yeah, Blood Money, man. Blood Money was that Click Click with Tony Yayo, Baby with Young Buck. What did they do with Lloyd Banks on that album, bro? They had a lot of great music on that album that I liked. 50 Cent put up some good hooks on that album too. The street ones, the street ones. I don't think West Coast dudes or East Coast dudes have any choice but to witness people from all over the country blow up, all over the world blow up, man. And if anybody's showing any shade, man, that's just not even it. You know what I'm saying? Just work, just do your music. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to cross paths with these people in the music industry, work and do your music. Blog and do your, you know, research. If you want to end up running into these people and having an opportunity out there, record your music, write on your computer, put a booth, write in your closet, whatever. Put up some money, go to the studio, You know what I'm saying? Set up a podcast. You know, whatever you're going to do, you can be within the realm of the music industry. Put yourself there. He had more than DT, bro. He had like a guy named High C. He had a guy like named Snoopy Blue, if I'm not mistaken. He had a few dudes with him, man. You know what I mean? He had a few dudes with him. But Young Buck's label just wasn't there. You know what I mean? I actually thought it should have been, honestly, if anything, they should have signed Shorty Low to Cashville South and dropped his solo albums over there, I guess. I don't know. Rest in peace, Shorty Low. Shorty Low got a chance as well. Now, the Games label was the label that was going to be popping. They had Your Boy, who I think was the best. They had Juice, and then they had Compton Menace. Look what Menace would go on to do, man. Why do I got to point this shit out? Menace would go on to work with Lil Wayne. Menace was like the cousin of the Game. I believe they're like cousins. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. What kind of shit is that? This man's got so many different ends. I remember one time Menace invited me to Philly to go meet Cassidy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Menace has always held me down, man. So, you know what I'm saying? Big facts. Big facts, Mikel. Memphis. That's why I'm saying it's like it's all over the globe right now, man. Sometimes you be having dudes blow up from Europe and shit like that. You know, we're seeing a lot of resurgence from the United Kingdom. You know what I mean? Vlad was even doing interviews. Vlad was doing interviews with people from the United Kingdom. I like it. I like it. Obrice DK says, Game has always been my favorite rapper. That's what's up, man. I was trying to find somebody in here tonight that was going to say Game was in their top 5. Just because he's not in my top 5, and I'm not going to cap, you know what I mean? I'm not going to cap like I didn't buy the Game's first 3 albums. I'm not going to cap like I haven't listened to all the Game's albums. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. And, yeah, like, just not going to do that. You know what I mean? The Game is an artist worth listening to. Whether he's going crazy and dropping 300 bars, or now saying he doesn't think Eminem is better than him, which I don't really understand. You know what I mean? First of all, like, I mean, it's not really the conversation for today, you guys. But first, the Game said that M just killed me on my own shit. You know what I mean? He said I'm walking through 8 Mile, sick. M just killed me on my own shit. So M killed you back then on your own shit. But let's be real. Okay. Some people say M is better now. I personally like old Eminem. I personally like old Game. You know what I mean? Those first 4 albums, really. The Red Nation album, it was still there. You know what I mean? He had Lil Wayne. He brought Lil Wayne back. It was still there, but it just didn't have none of the same, you know, even opportunity as his first 3. So the Game, you know, the Game was better in his first 2 albums, really. Those were his best. The Game's first 2 albums were his best. Eminem's best album was probably his second and third as well. So they both have that time frame of their best albums. But I just don't get how Game is saying that. But Game obviously feels like he's got better. You know what I mean? Game feels like he's got better. Me personally, I like the old Game. You know what I mean? Me personally, I like the old Game. But reading some of these raps, listening to the Game freestyle like this, he's actually really amazing. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, when you go back to listen to West Side Story, you know what I mean? When you go back to listen to Start from Scratch, you know what I'm saying? When you go back and listen to his records with Busta Rhymes and shit like that, when you go with the Doctor's Advocate, you know what I mean? Like, come on, like the game, in all honesty, I feel like that was his prime, like 2005, 2006, 2007, you know? Eminem's prime, I guess, would be '01. No, I can't really point out Eminem's prime off the top of my head right now because the Marshall Mathers LP was when he sold 1.1 million in a week or something like that. You know what I mean? Old time big sales right there. I mean, pretty much double the sales. But that material is dark compared to what Eminem's material is now. That's the material I found to be better. Although I don't find much replay value in Eminem's old music, like the Marshall Mathers LP or the Slim Shady LP, I actually find it to be kind of like offsetting, off putting. It makes me feel strange. You know what I mean? You're riding around, you hear him rapping about all this crazy shit. You're kind of like in a bad mood. You're like, yo, this is making me feel low key like I need to go talk to a therapist or something like that. Let me put the game how we do on. You know what I mean? Let me put the game how we do on. So I might like more old game like West Side Story to Doctor's Advocate. You know, it's more acceptable playing now. That's just my real opinion, you guys. If anybody wants to take that shit and run with it, if Eminem wants to take that shit and run with it, it is what it is. It's just the real opinion. I know there's probably a lot of people who share that opinion. I know there's a lot of people that really share that opinion. Uh, Let me see. Clouds Clutch says Mikey T, Eminem, Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, the Eminem Show are pure gold. Yeah, I would go Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem Show, Slim Shady LP if we're talking about order. Maybe with just themes permitting, I might make the Eminem Show the best one. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm saying, some of the themes from the Marshall Mathers LP just I'm trying to enjoy my life. You know what I'm saying? You guys, I wake up, I'm trying to have a smile on my face. I'm trying to go get some coffee. I'm trying to think about some creative things to really come and talk to the people about. And when if I can't do that if I'm listening to the Marshall Mathers LP. And I'm not talking about the sequel because the sequel is not as good as the first one. You know what I mean? Hold on. I gotta dispute that, Big Lucci. I got to dispute that because the game actually said that nobody plays Eminem's music in the clubs. He said the game said, well, no, the one that I really took issue with that the game said was that they don't play his music at sports arenas or shit like that. They don't play his music in the locker rooms. Eminem has two of the biggest anthems. He's got Not Afraid and he's got Lose Yourself. I'm pretty sure those are two of the big music sports anthems of all time. To me, the game doesn't make sports music. The game makes dope ass music for me to ride around and go to the in my car with. He makes good party music. You know what I'm saying? But let me know because 50 Cent tried with Let's Get Up. You know what I mean? That whole video where he themed it after the Will Smith movie, I Am Legend. He tried some sports theme music, but Eminem, I'm just gonna call it like I see it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like just a second ago, I was telling you I like the game's first projects, kind of, I guess, more than Eminem's. In retrospect, maybe not at that point in time of life when we're talking about 2001 to 2005, but in hindsight, in current days, you know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm throwing the game on over Eminem all day. And probably in '05 I was as well too because in '05 Eminem shit was just like he was making that one song where he was like it was called like When I'm Gone or some shit and that shit was weak. Um Antonio, what up, brother? He says Lloyd Banks' official, unofficial second album, the Big Cash Withdraw is over the Game second album. I don't think so, bro. I don't think so, man. The Game's second album did 360,000 units first week. The Game's second album, it was a monster. The Big Withdraw never saw the light of day, to my knowledge, at least in a retail store. My knowledge is that Get Low was going to be the lead single for the Big Withdraw. And if that was the case, that would not be good. Another thought I have is that Lloyd Banks could not secure a release date in 2005 anyways, because of how mushed together the G Unit release schedule was. The documentary, the massacre, Tony Yayo's Thoughts of a Predicate Felon, the Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack, the Get Rich or Die Trying movie. You know, they were releasing a project every quarter. You know, I really honestly don't know how they could have fit in. You know what I mean? I don't know how they could have fit in the other shit. Wow. Legendary says, I agree with him. Lloyd Banks' second unreleased album is way better than Game's second album. It's super dope. Well, damn. Can you please give me a couple notable tracks? You know what I mean? I'm for sure I've seen the Big Withdraw, but you're going to have to remind me on it a little bit, man. As soon as that was pushed from a regular retail, you know what I'm saying? Mikey, the Doctor's Advocate sounds like leftovers from the first documentary. Nah, you see, the thing is, after the documentary, the Game actually built such a fan base and relationships that he was actually able to work with so many producers. You know, let's take a look to see. All right, see, I'm bringing up the producers from the documentary. Let's see, because Leftovers, to me, if it was Leftovers, it would be the majority of the same producers, right? So we have Dre and Storch, Cool and Dre, Kanye West on Dreams, Havoc, Don't Need Your Love, Just Blaze, Timbaland, Put You on the Game, the fourth single. Of course, they had to release that as the fourth single. Timbaland produced it. Storch, That's Awesome on Start From Scratch. High Tech, Just Blaze. Eminem on the Eminem feature, We Ain't. Focus, Needles, Buck Wild. Let's see who's on the second album, you guys. No Swizz Beatz there, and I know he worked with Swizz on the second album. So that's not screaming leftover to me. You know what I mean? Let's see who we got here on the second album, though. So we've got will.i.am, Just Blaze on a song called Remedy, and that's the Remedy. Yeah, that might be a throwaway, bro. Go look up the lyrics for Remedy. I believe that's the one where he's shouting out all of the classic titles, right? Let's Ride. Oh, Jesus. Just Blaze. Storch on Let's Ride, excuse me. Storch on Too Much, which was awesome. Too Much is not a throwaway. Too Much is not a throwaway. That's not something the Game would have done on his first album. Kanye West came in for another song. Not a throwaway. He gave him a great single. First time he produced his single Dreams, he produced his third single. And on this one, he rapped on his third single. Maybe it been his second single. And I love this song with Swizz Beatz. This was obviously not a throwaway because Swizz Beatz was actually rapping on it. I think he was doing the hook. Yeah, that shit was dope. Then he had J.R. Rodham, High Tech. Yeah, he actually had Jamie Foxx on the album. Yeah, this album has bangers, man. This album has bangers. Why You Hate the Game with Nas, Around the World with Jamie Foxx, Bang with the Dog Pound, Californication, Californication with Snoop Dogg and Exhibit, Doctor's Advocate, like I said, with Busta Rhymes, Scream on Them with Swizz Beats, Wouldn't Get Far with Kanye West, Too Much. My personal favorite is Too Much with Nate Dogg. Oh, damn. Compton is another great one. I really like Scream on Them too. JR Junior Reed did One Blood with The Game. I actually have interviewed Junior Reed. Yeah, man. Oh yeah, bro. JP, I remember that song by Lloyd Banks. Yup, I do. But you're not gonna convince me that Without My Glock by Lloyd Banks is better than Too Much by The Game. I'm sorry, bro. And it's not better than the Will I Am Compton. You know what I'm saying? It's not better than Too Much with Nate Dogg. It's not better than Wouldn't Get Far. It's not better than Scream on Him or One Night, which was by himself, or Doctor's Advocate with Busta Rhymes. And you want to know why, you guys? You want to know why the Game's second album sold 360,000 units in the first week? It's because it's an original album. It's not the same thing that he had released 2 years ago. It wasn't the same thing as January 2005 when the Game came back in November of '06 and released all these new records. You see, you can't do that. That's one of the biggest things. It's one of the biggest things that it led to many failures in the game. You know, you don't usually hear somebody admitting to too many of his failures. Very interesting to hear 50 Cent speak on a couple projects like that. One that he let just flounder in Spider Loke, which I think we all think he could have helped a lot more. Another situation, he let go. He let him go. He pushed him away. Go do your thing, OT Genesis. And he blew up, you guys. We went over the Wack 100 in Compton Menace. There's a lot of rumors going out there. Those two came together. They talked about it. They talked about having a little bit of issues over Compton Menace's beef previously with the Game. And shit, speaking of the Game, he started off his freestyles. He started off his new freestyle saying some epic shit, man. Going at his former comrades, man. Y'all got me effed up. They must think I'm Lloyd Banks or Young Buck. But I really appreciate everybody tapping in tonight. Man, I want y'all to follow me on the gram. I want everybody on here to follow me on the gram. I got a bunch of new interviews dropping in the near future, you guys. A bunch of new interviews, man. If anybody has any open questions at the end of my podcast, I always do open questions. I want to be sure to take some now from the people out there, from y'all watching. So everybody watching, everything's good. What's up? What's up, Poppy? Everything's good. If anybody has any open questions, you can shoot them in through right now. Yes, hit that like button. Send in a question right now. I always do open questions at the end of my podcast. If anybody's got anything that they want to ask, the time is now. You heard? Oh, shit. Poppy's got a question. He says, who do you think was the best rapper in G Unit? Who do I think was the best rapper in G Unit? Well, I think the best rapper in G Unit, shit, you see, I would have to say Young Buck. Young Buck was probably my favorite rapper in G Unit. Even though the rapper I liked the most was Tony Yayo, but I think the best rapper was Young Buck. Long term, still at this point, the best rapper from G Unit seems to be the Game. It seems like the Game has had the most longevity in his career. Well, Diamond Legendary says, did 50 really go diamond twice? Or does he mean worldwide sales? Well, diamond is actually a worldwide thing. You can go diamond worldwide, 10 million worldwide. And I believe the Massacre did go diamond. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to be, don't quote me on that. I haven't looked up the numbers of the Massacre like that. Somebody give it a quick Google search right now if you want, and we'll read it out in the chat. But 50 had just done an interview where he said that Get Rich is up to 13 million. O'Brien says Game, Buck, Banks, Yayo. Well, what about Mobb Deep? What about MOP? You know what I mean? What about the other guys that were working with G Unit back in the day? You know what I mean? Where do you figure all these guys in? Where do you figure Spider Loke in? Where do you figure Hot Rod in? Where do you figure, you know what I mean? Where do you figure all the G Unit artists in, man? They had Maserati Fox, rest in peace. They had all different types of rappers, man. Shit, they even had a female, Olivia. You know what I mean? They had Nice to Future. They had a bunch of people affiliated with them. JP says, let me see, where was that shit? Banks, Buck, 50, Game, Yayo. So Banks, Buck, 50, Game, and Yayo. Antonio, I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, on the poll on here, Lloyd Banks is number one. Because on the poll, put up the vote in the poll, you guys, if you haven't voted in the poll yet. But I put up the New York representation in Lloyd Banks. I put up the California representation, the West Coast Game, and I put up the South for Young Buck. And I asked, like, who do y'all like? I didn't put up 50 and Yayo because they're obviously New York representation of G Unit. Nova says, Mobb Deep, in my opinion, wasn't a good fit for G Unit. Didn't really like the Blood Money album. Damn, son. Damn, son. Damn, son. Put some respect on the Blood Money album, man. They got a lot of records on there, bro. 50 done put together an elaborate 50 Cent put together an elaborate marketing campaign for Mobb Deep. This is the one point in Mobb Deep's career where they came on the screen and they was calling themselves Hollywood Have, VIP, Mikey T, the movie star. We was all up in there partying. Sorry, y'all, it's the runts. That was the runts, that last part. I did go to Prodigy's last show, though, before he turned himself in at BB King's when Maserati Fox jumped in the crowd. I was like, holding my girl, I was like, let somebody come over here and get near my girl. Let somebody do it. G-Unit or not, let somebody get near my wifey. Because you know how shit goes when you're with the wifey, man. Anybody, I grabbed hold of her, I was like, let somebody move near. I got on my completely defensive shit. You know how that shit goes when you're with wifey and all that. I didn't give a damn. G-Unit, Infamous Mob, whatever the hell it was. You know what I mean? Like, yo, don't. But I think that's why people were not coming near me when that whole mob shit happened. I was in the front row at Prodigy's last show, and Maserati Fox jumped in the crowd. And I was like, yeah, let's see what happens because I'm fitting to go nuts if somebody gets near my wifey. What if it was Suge? Let it be Suge. Suge Knight ain't got shit on Mike T. To take a classic Denzel Washington line, Suge Knight ain't got shit on me. You thought you was the dude Eddie Murphy was talking about after he seen the movie Rocky. Nah, you know how that shit is, man. Like, yo, if you're when you're with wifey and shit like that, you're pretty much Superman. You know what I mean? Like anything, you're standing up to anything. Yeah, man. Prodigy and Havoc were an amazing duo, bro. Havoc, one of my favorite producers. Prodigy, one of my favorite rappers, and then together, I think I got to give them my favorite duo of all time. You know what I mean? And Outkast is right there. You know what I mean? That's another one of my favorite duos of CNN. You know what I mean? Um, shit, we're gonna have to show the Lobby Boys some love too, you guys. You know what I mean? Jim Jones and Mano are really coming up. I really hope they continue doing what they're doing as the Lobby Boys because they're making an impact. You know what I mean? Yeah, Havoc and Styles P, latest project. Styles P does a lot of great work. I liked his projects with Dave East as well. I liked his work with Max B. I don't think it was actually a full project, right? They just did a few records together. You know what I mean? But yeah, some of these duo projects I'm into. I'm not even gonna front. You know what I mean? It gives us a opportunity, the best of both worlds. We saw it a little bit with Little Baby and Lil Durk. You know, in the new league of rappers. We saw it with NBA YoungBoy and DaBaby to much less success for some reason. For some reason, that one was to much less success. I would have thought we would have always got, well, that would have been a GBE group album if it was Chief Keef, Lil Durk, Lil Reese, rest in peace, Fredo. You know what I'm saying? All the guys, you know what I mean? All the guys from GBE and shit, Tato, you know what I'm saying? All the dudes and do an official GBE album. But that's a whole nother thought. Oh, and of course, the locks. You know what I mean? Yep. 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 Dog Pound, another one of my favorites. Corrupt and Daz. I mean, come on, you almost got the same thing right there when it comes to Corrupt and Daz. It's comparable to Prodigy and Havoc almost. You know what I mean? Because Corrupt, one of my favorite rappers. You know what I'm saying? Corrupt is easily one of my favorite rappers. And Daz, he was like the last imprint of that sound. You know what I mean? That classic death row sound. You know what I mean? Daz was the one that actually meshed in, hearing all of his shit. He actually meshed in right with everything that they were doing. And I feel like if they would have had more time to create, all of them as a group, like I'm talking Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Daz, Corrupt, Suge Knight. See what I'm saying? I don't just come on here and disrespect Suge Knight. I come on here and I keep it real. If they would have had more of an opportunity to build and create, I think all of those guys would be much further, and you know what I mean, like much much more rich. Period. You know what I mean? These guys would probably be worth 200-300 million right now if they really had an opportunity to develop that sound. Let's call it like it is. You know what I mean? They didn't have long enough to develop the sound and really run with it. The sound kind of like it wasn't that sound, it wasn't like what Murder Inc. was. That sound was not like what G Unit was or what MMG was. It wasn't just going to be one of these 2 to 3 year runs. That was literally a whole, you know what I mean, sound of music, not even just a click. It was like a sound of a style of music. But that's just my favorite era, you guys. You know what I'm saying? That's just my favorite era, the G Funk era, you guys. Some people might say they like other eras better. You know what I'm saying? But the G Funk era was my favorite era of music. All right, y'all. I'm about to take the poll down. Antonio says, since you're talking duos, which duo and G Unit made the best tracks together? I like that you put that out there, Antonio. I like that you put that out there, bro. Because I felt like I was thinking that. If anybody wants to send in questions, we're at that portion of the Mikey T, the Movie Star podcast, where I take open questions now. So, best duo G Unit songs. I like it. Because we all know Banks and Buck, they just started working together so effortlessly. You know what I mean? They put out a lot of records together that were dope. A lot of people would probably say Banks and Buck would be the automatic. A lot of people would say Banks and Buck would be the automatic choice. Then you got to go back to this recent performance that Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo did, and just seeing how the crowd reacted to the two of them. You know what I mean? Tony Yayo was almost like a perfect second to Lloyd Banks. You know what I mean? Because you go crazy about Lloyd Banks, and then, oh, you're kidding me? Yayo's here too? Shit! It's a whole nother extra reason to get crazy. You know what I mean? Yayo's here. Now we got the boy Wonder and the talk of New York. All right. Lady Legend, I am glad you're back in the chat. Lady Legend, I'm glad you're. Take care of yourself, Lady Legend. You know we need you here. Appreciate you definitely for tapping in. Yeah, we got to look at the others. We got to look at the others. You know what I mean? We got to look at some of the others because, like I said, Banks and Buck would be the obvious choice. But then you look at 50, he's actually done records with all the guys. Me, I really like 50 and Buck too. You know what I'm saying? What was it called? Footprints? First there was what was that shit? First it was in the sand. Then there was one set of footprints in the sand. When times gets hard and shit hits the fan. Yeah. That 50 set shit with Buck on the Beg for Mercy album. Then you can even look as far as the Buck the World album. Hold on. It's like an ambulance. Always takes so long. You know what I'm saying? Like these records, they come to your mind. 50 and Banks. I'm more of a 50 and Yayo guy if we're talking about teaming up. You know what I'm saying? Remember that one song Yayo had where 50 was like, Yayo, 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 Yayo. Love don't live here anymore. Let me see. Oh, the My Buddy track. That was with all of them though, man. It's just like you can't put two of the members of G Unit together. You can't do that. We can't put two members of G Unit together. But let's go with my favorite incarnation of what G Unit was. I would have to go. Buck, Banks, and 50. Beg for Mercy. That right there, easily, you guys, my favorite G Unit, one of my favorite G Unit albums. Damn it, I got to take it to a poll. I got to take it to a poll. I'm smoking runts right now, you guys. Let me know what y'all smoking if you're smoking in the chat. If you're smoking in the chat, let me know. I want to shout out what y'all smoking on. There we go. I got a new poll for y'all. Damn, these. No, not Nashville. Straight out of Cashville, man. Hell yeah. Come on now. Nah, Lady Legend, you don't need to do none of that. You're too good for all that shit. You don't need to do none of that shit. JP said he's smoking on that forbidden jelly. That's what the hell's that jelly shit? Jelly bean, maybe I smoked some we call jelly bean one time. Yummy, that forbid. Exactly, Lady Legend. You can live vicariously through the chat. You don't need to indulge. Put it from your mind. Live vicariously through us. Game verse on Stunt 101 was hard, but it didn't make the album. What? I never heard that bullshit before, Slang. You was wildin', bro. You was wild. Game was not in G Unit at that time. Actually, yeah, he was. Young Buck wouldn't have shouted him out unless he was. Hell yeah, I know you do. I know you do. Lead by example with that shit. You got this. Mango Kush. I know a weed that makes you not miss smoking, Lady Legend, and that's probably that Mango Kush. You hear about somebody smoking on that mango, and you can let it go. You know what I'm saying? I remember a few times I'd be in Miami. I used to live in Miami for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? And people would pull up on me, yo, Mikey T, I got that mango. I'm like, yo, hell no. Don't tell me you got mango. You pretty much better lie to me if you're telling me you got mango. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Game was around for a minute, Slang. But I don't think he recorded a verse for Stunt 101. I do not think Dre puts that. I do not think Dre, that would have to be a Dre move. You know what I mean? Dre would have had to been like, yo, Game would sound great on Stunt 101. We need to put Buck on Stunt 101. Yeah, but Buck's album might not do all that well anyways. I mean, come on. all that window to the wall shit, all that Laffy Taffy shit coming out of the South wasn't as respected at that point in time. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, exactly. Even though Little John was doing numbers, Little John, what was they doing back then? What was that one where they was literally snapping you guys? They was doing all types of shit and selling records. One time. They was doing all types of shit and popping off one time. This shit 50 Cent wasn't about popping off one time. It wasn't about that. When 50 Cent got into this shit, he wanted an album full of bangers, you guys. 50 wanted an album full of bangers. That was the thing that was wrong with the music industry that day. It wasn't necessarily Ja Rule, though, putting out an album full of songs you didn't want to listen to. I don't think it was Ja Rule. Name me Candy Girl. Somebody in the chat, let me know. What was an album you bought where you were like, damn? Put it in the comment section, in the chat. What was an album you bought you were like, damn, the whole album sucks besides the singles? This whole album is trash. It's raga. It's raga. This album is garbito. Yeah, so let me know what album out there, you know what I'm saying? Well, the thing about it is 50 Cent, Candy Girl. But the thing about it is that 50 Cent did not want to have representations for G-Unit records that were only going to last for one go round. That's what I mean to say all that, you guys. I'm sorry for all the spectacle. Obviously, I was there. I lived through it. I had to watch Laffy Taffy on television literally 50,000 times. I got the opportunity to interview Shorty Low, though. He was a real ass dude. You know what I mean? He actually gave me one of the best interviews in my career. I actually got the opportunity to interview Mims as well. That was a whole different story, though, because this is why I'm hot. You know what I mean? That was, this is why I'm hot. Now, the Southern scene with like Bone Crusher, you know what I mean? A lot of these guys were looked at as one-hit wonders. You know what I mean? It wasn't until the South really started taking over like crazy. If you want to look at it like that, I mean, no, but a lot of people in the South got a lot of that real recognition. You got Young Jeezy popping up, Young Jeezy selling crazy records. You had Gucci Man coming up. Gucci gets locked up. Waka Flocka comes onto the scene. You know what I mean? And then from that whole thing where Gucci and Waka, you had the blossoming of Scooter, Thug. You know what I mean? The first time we saw Future was alongside Gucci Man when Gucci Man was like, yo, I'm putting out the project. So maybe that wasn't, I'm putting out the project, Future. You know what I'm saying? We had all these artists blossoming, you guys, from these relationships. And I was only pulling back the reins a little bit because we saw the Little Johns and the Little Scrappies and the East Side Boys and the D4Ls and the Dem Franchise Boys. We saw all these groups actually move some pretty big numbers. And then you see Young Thug coming out, only selling 30,000 units. But Young Thug is perceived to be a bigger artist than them, than the Yin Yang. Yin Yang Twins, you cannot put anything past the Yin Yang Twins. These guys had as many runs at the industry as Little Bow Wow. You know what I mean? That was another one. You know what I mean? Album after album after album after album. You know what I mean? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Cloud says, I think Little Bow Wow's album 2, only good shit it had was the Fresh as I'm Is. Yep. Wow, I haven't read that shit ever on the internet. Fresh as I'm Is. That was his best one on there, right? Let Me Hold You, and Four Kings. The Little Bow Wow album. What was that album called? I remember year after year after year, it would be like the dogs here, the dogs out of the dogs out of the doghouse. Most Wanted. You know what I mean? It was like a storyline to his albums. You know what I mean? Now it's like he's unleashed. You know what I mean? Then he has like, what was his next one called? He had an album called Most Wanted, right? Every year, Little Bow Wow had a new album. Let me see. We had some cool comments here, though. Chingy, Jackpot. Yeah, Chingy's album, very, the first one, really good. Eric, what up, bro? Appreciate you for tapping in. Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. And Chingy actually came onto the scene hot. He had Right There. He had One Call Away. He had, what was the other one he had, bro? He had another one on that album, didn't he? Or was it just the Right There remix with Jermaine Dupri, which was awesome? Jermaine Dupri had one of the best rap voices, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He could have really diddied the game. You know what I mean? He could have really did his Diddy. You know what I'm saying? I really think he could have, probably better than Diddy. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that Papa Diddy Pop, you know what I mean? Diddy actually could have used the help of Biggie Smalls. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Diddy could have used the help of Biggie Smalls as his official A&R. You know, Biggie was really going to take so many of those artists to the next level when we're talking about Puff, when we're talking about Kim in the direction of their careers, when we're talking about C's, when we're talking about Junior Mafia as a whole. You know what I'm saying? When we're talking about the connection that he was going to make with Cameron, apparently. You know what I'm saying? Making a connection with Cameron and then working the Dipset label. Guys, can you imagine Dipset on a major? Could you guys imagine the deal that Big would have got for Dipset on a major? Cameron had to go work on his own. You know what I'm saying? And he made it work. He got the relationship built up on Koch, brought Jewels to Def Jam, enabled his people to eat. I'm talking about all the Dipset members, you guys. I'm talking about all the Dipset members who were able to get music out. Young Jeezy, like I said, those guys, there's more. Name them. Who were the guys from the South that made them? Rick Ross came in. Jay-Z brought Rick Ross in. You know what I'm saying? We had Jeezy, who was he did considerably more units than Ross, I do believe. We'll have to do a match. It might not have been that much more. We had T.I. beginning to emerge. So I can't really just put it on these Young Thug, because these dudes right here, they would go on to sell units over Ludacris when they all started getting their opportunities. And that's why the South started to be so recognized. You know what I'm saying? That's why Puff had to go to the lengths of creating a television show. You guys, he had to go to the lengths of creating a television show. Hey, I don't fault Puff for doing that. That was a hell of a creative idea that in reality has birthed so many careers. I mean, if you look at the fact that there were 6, 7 members of the band, whether you want to consider Mysterious or not, and Day 26 and any of the other groups that were formed under those making the band groups. There's multiple people that got opportunities, from the Donnie Klang to the, wasn't there another one of the kids that actually was going to go solo named Q? You know what I mean? There's a lot of different people who got a lot of clout off of the shows that Diddy created, whether they were rappers, R&B singers, Danity Kane, who actually got famous for quite some time when Diddy didn't really get everything together with that group called Dream. Do you guys remember that? When Diddy had the group called Dream, he got a second chance. He got a second opportunity with Danity Kane. They actually did a few numbers. Puff knows how to keep Bad Boy. Puff was just like Mikey T, the movie star, in the sense that Bad Boy was all over the shit. Like you cannot go a year in history without seeing Bad Boy on the billboards. So maybe it's like I used Diddy's blueprint a little bit unknowingly. Diddy could not keep Bad Boy out of the billboard. He's a billboard bad boy. You know what, Puff? I'm going to be a billboard bad boy too. I'm going to be a billboard bad boy. They're going to call me Mikey T, the billboard bad boy. Oh, you already know. The way those guys recreated themselves. Exhibit, salute to Exhibit. I really liked the X single he had. Now, the thing about it, oh, yes, that's right. The other Chingy single. Nobody in the chat put it. Nobody put that shit in the chat. It was actually Holiday Inn. Coming to the Holiday Inn. Who was featured on Holiday Inn? It was Snoop Dogg and who else, you guys? Chingy, Snoop Dogg, and who else? Yep. And Powerball was the trash album. Yep, Tommy. Jackpot was good. And yo, JP, I'm sorry about that encounter that you had with T.I., bro. That's some bullshit. Yo, what up, Reek? What's poppin'? Would you Reek? I don't know if you're busy, Reek. I don't know if you're busy, bro. If you want to tap in, I threw the link up. Calling me back with Tyrese. I was really I was a lately fan. I was a lately fan from Tyrese. Didn't like when Tyrese was going by the rap name of Black Ty. Tyrese, why are you rapping, bro? Tyrese, why are you rapping, bro? But I did not like Stutter either. I'll say that one. I liked lately, but I did not like Stutter. Stutter was him, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Ivana. Jibs. You know, a lot of people were getting it twisted. A lot of people were getting it twisted about the whole situation. You know what I mean? With the South. A lot of people were like, yo, the South is only producing one-hit wonders. You know what I mean? But the South ended up making a lot of credible stars. A lot of them stayed, just like we have our stars here on the East Coast. You know what I mean? We have our Jay-Z's, we have our 50s, we have our Jadas, we have our Fab. You know what I mean? We have, you know what I'm saying? We have all of our stars. Atlanta got theirs as well. My boy Slang bought the Band album. That's what's up, bro. Big Lucci says Puff is a promotional genius. The Pussycat Dolls. Nova. I know the one girl from the Pussycat Dolls, Nicole, was going solo at one point, and she was actually on Interscope. But why do you bring up the Pussycat Dolls, bro? I don't think they were signed to Bad Boy. Oh, hell yeah. Diddy's son, King Combs, he's doing his thing right now with Kodak Black and shit. He is doing his thing with Kodak Black right now, man. Yes, free G Dep, man. G Dep, he had his demons. You know what I mean? He confronted his demons, turned himself in. A lot of people thought he was wild for that. Like, in all honesty, a lot of people thought he was wild for that. But you know what? G Dep confronted his demons And at the end of the day, he'll be a better man for that. You know what I mean? G-Dep will be home at the end of the day, able to continue. You know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg, Nelly, Luda. Dem jeans. Dem jeans. Isn't that Bobby Valentino, bro? Oh yeah, I really liked Field Mob's album. I actually got the opportunity to interview Smoke from Field Mob. That dude was cool as hell. He had an album called Kang. He had an album called Kang coming out at that time. So we did an interview actually in Florida. I really appreciate him for giving me the opportunity to do that interview, man. Yeah, it was a pretty dope interview. You guys can find that interview. You guys can find that interview. Shout out to Smoke from Field Mob. That's right. Smoke from Field Mob gave me an interview. And I met Sean J actually. I actually met Sean J. Okay, Stutter was Joe. Okay, Stutter was Joe. So Tyrese was lately, and what was his second one again? Little Scrappy actually had a couple dope singles. He had Problems. Then he had the Money in the Bank single with Young Buck. And then he had that Crunk single, right? Ludacris, all those guys, man. Jermaine Dupri was doing it back then for the South. All of those guys were really bringing it home for the South back then, man. The Young Bloods, major love to the Young Bloods. Okay, Dem Jeans is genuine. Oh, salute to the brother Kid. Salute to the brother Kid. He's actually going to be coming on the channel. He's actually going to be coming on the channel pretty soon, y'all. So salute to the bro Kid. Very dope artist. You know, he has a new single out right now, actually. Y'all gotta go tap in with Kid. Here, let me post his Instagram up for y'all. Because he's got a new joint out right now called Crooks that I want y'all to tap in with. I'm about to pin that up. He will be coming on the channel for an exclusive interview. So if anybody has interview questions for Kid, hell, leave them in the comment section of the video. That's right, the comment section of this video. I'll take a look. And might add them into the, you know what I'm saying? I might add them in and shit. But I want y'all to go follow Kid. He's got a new single out right now, y'all. Kid has a new single out called Crooks. And yo, he be popping in on the live sometimes. Kid is a real ass dude, man. But what about Kid? You said JP. I mean, Kid told me a lot. You know what I mean? Kid told me a lot about his career, like the fact that he actually recorded enough material with Young Buck for there to have been a collaborative effort with him and Young Buck. That there could have actually been a G Unit collaborative album between them, like a duo album, as we were talking about earlier. Oh, you already know. I love Trina, and Trick Daddy obviously had one of the best rap names ever. Yeah, Trick Daddy has one of the best rap names ever, you guys. Just saying. Gunplay is my dude, man. Gunplay has given me a lot of opportunities, man. You know what I'm saying? Me and Gunplay have sat, chopped it up. We filmed music videos together, actually. You know what I mean? Gunplay has never done nothing but give me opportunities. I remember one time he had me to Cool and Dre's crib, and there was literally 30 cars in the front yard. There was literally 30 cars in the front yard. Yeah, you guys. Yeah, you guys. Kid has a new single coming out called Crooks. New single. Go check it out, Kid Kid. Officialkidkid.com. You know what I'm saying? Officialkidkid.com. Yeah, you mean ejected, brother? Yeah, man. Anybody that wants to ask questions to Kid Kid, put it in the comment section of this video and I'll see it tomorrow and I'll add it to my question list. I was putting together a shitload of questions for the interview because I got to whittle it down. I'm old school. Oh, shit, though. I ain't like Tony Khan from AEW. You're not going to be able to read. I'd be having like a bunch of notes. I still be writing shit down, man. That's how I'm thorough with my shit, you guys. I'm thorough with my shit, y'all. I got notes on top of notes, notebooks on top of notebooks. But that's not saying we don't have computers on top of computers and shit like that as well. You know what I mean? I don't consider this a media room. You know what I'm saying? Because I've got a elaborate table that'll fit a bunch of computers on it. You know what I'm saying? It's my media room. This is where I come on to do my live Mikey T, the movie star exclusive podcast. Obviously, I'm going to add it to it in the future. Obviously, you're going to see changes as we grow. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to see all different types of news stories. You're going to see all different type of watch-alongs. You know what I'm saying? Definitely appreciate you, Jose. Jose Felix in the building. Appreciate you for liking the content. Appreciate you for liking the content, bro. Let me see. 36 Mafia. Yeah, man. 36 Mafia. I did an interview with Crunchy Black, actually. Crunchy Black is an amazing interview. You know what I mean? He gives a lot of energy in his interview, you guys. Crunchy Black gives you all type of energy in his interview. Like this guy was telling me about the Oscars. This guy was telling me about all different types of shit. Young Buck. You guys got to go check out the interview. It's on my page. Clouds Clutch. Bro, are you going to put that in the chat? Are you going to put that in the you got to put that in the comment section, bro. Anybody that wants to ask a question to Kid Kid, anybody that wants to ask a question to Kid Kid in my exclusive interview with former Cash Money, Young Money recording artist, G Unit recording artist, Millionaire recording artist, Kid. Yeah. Anybody that wants to ask a question to Kid, y'all need to just put it in the comment section of the video. You need to get a Danny Boy interview. That'd be cool to link up with Danny Boy, former Death Row. I'd love to do some interviews with several of the Death Row cats. You know what I mean? Corrupt and Daz. A lot of the guys, man, though. A lot of the guys from Death Row I would like to link up with. A lot of them that weren't even actually from the golden era, too. I'd link up with some of the other ones. Eastwood. You know what I'm saying? I would love to link up with the Realist, if that would be possible. Thank you. Thank you, Cloud. Appreciate that, man. Nah, Kid's the real G, man. Kid's the real G. Exactly. Look what JP said, y'all. Kid is cool as hell. He be replying on IG. So, y'all, I put up Kid's Instagram. Y'all can follow Kid on Instagram. Kid is hard. Brandon says Kid is hard. Brandon says, why did he get more shine on G Unit than Cash Money? Yo, again, put that in the comment section if you would, Brandon. Anybody who wants to ask a question like that. Well, Nova said Mikey T and Alchemist would be a fire interview. One of my favorite interviews of all time was actually with Harry Fraud. Harry Fraud gave me the opportunity to do an interview with him. I rode up there with my guy EC, who's a major producer as well. You know what I mean? My guy EC. Oh shit. Uh-oh. I'm about to tell y'all what EC produced in a minute, but so Harry Fraud was one of my favorite producers. Well, Harry Fraud was my favorite producer interview ever. And I've done some heavy producer interviews, you guys. Following that would have to be Scott Storch, Arsonist, you know what I'm saying? Heat Makers. I've interviewed some heavy producers, you guys, but those I'm going to give you right there off the top, my top three. Having the chance to link with them, man, you know what I'm saying? Having the chance to link with Arsonist, man, all the respect he showed me in that interview, man, I got nothing but the utmost respect for that legend in the game. The utmost respect for Scott Storch. He's a legend to me in the game. Harry Fraud, a legend in the game. You know what I mean? To get the opportunity to work with these guys. F it! F it! And shout out to Cool as well. Cool blessed me with an interview. F it! We need Mikey T on Drink Champs. Nah, Nori's my guy, man. Nori will be like, we need Mikey T to smoke this blunt. Nori's always giving me some good shit to smoke or some good shit to drink. You know what I'm saying? Mikey, let's drink a 40. Okay. I'm not going to turn down an iconic moment to drink a 40 with Nori. Who the hell would do that? You know what I mean? Because you gotta create moments in order to make moments. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to build with Nori, you know what I mean, to the point where he actually knew me. And you know, last time I ran up on Nori, it was actually at the video shoot he had with Method Man. If y'all want to go, have y'all seen that video with Nori and Method Man or no? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if y'all seen that shit. Here, let me see what my homie produced. I'm about to show y'all some exclusive shit. Whoa. Whoa. Crazy. My bros are getting some crazy credits right now when it comes to this music shit. Nova, Mikey, have you ever built with Sue Surf? Yeah, go check out my interview with Sue Surf. Mikey T, the movie star, Sue Surf, and it'll pop up. Yeah, I did an interview with Sue Surf. He's a dope ass artist, man. And he got rich as hell. Sue Surf got rich as hell. You know what I'm saying? I remember kicking it with Sue Surf. He gave me an hour-long interview. Go check that shit out right now. Maybe it was a half hour or something like that. He gave me some good time for an exclusive interview, and I really appreciate him for sitting with me. And I actually was kicking it and vibing with Sue Surf at a pool party where he actually was daring somebody to jump off a roof. So I ended up jumping off the roof of a pool into this pool. It was crazy. We was all in Texas, actually, speaking of Texas today. Speaking about experiences from Texas. I had an experience out in Texas that I'll never forget. Jumping, it was a pool party that Arsenal threw. Oh, damn it, Mikey. Mikey, You're doing too much. They would say you're doing too much now, Mikey T. You done said whose party it was. You done did too much, man. You did too much. Tommy Williams said, have you ever interviewed Field Mom? I actually interviewed Smoke, and then I partied with Sean J. We was actually at French Montana's Excuse My French album release party at Bamboo. Chaz, what up, Mikey? I guess I'm a little late. You are 2 hours in. Yeah, you're a little late, bro. It's all good though, man. You're a little late. It is all good though, bro. Yeah, we pretty much did Project X first. I was the Miles Teller character. But yeah, Sue Surf is an amazing artist, you guys. Sue Surf has really taken over when it comes to the battle rap. You know what I mean? For a while, I was thinking Sue Surf was actually going to take over on the music front. You know what I mean? Just because I saw so much talent in him when it came to the range of his vocal abilities. I was like, holy shit, this guy really can make some amazing songs. But right at that same point in time, you guys, battle rap was increasing like so dramatically that the battle rappers did not need to transition over to music anymore. You didn't need to transition to music anymore. Battle rap became so lucrative, you didn't even need to transition to battle rap anymore. From battle rap anymore. You literally could just stay battle rapping. It became so positively, financially, accurate. It's like, damn, I'm making all this money, man. It only makes sense that I stay right here. I'll do 4 battles a year. I'll make 30K a battle. I'll make 50K a battle. I'll make 75K a battle. I'll make 100 bands a battle. I'm making 400K a year to battle. F a hit record. We don't need no hit singles. All I need to do is write 3 rounds every 4 months. Hey, you know what, man? If I do a battle every month, I'm going to make 3 times more. So, yeah, man, battle rap has become so lucrative. It's so lucrative right now that I can just see why battle rappers aren't even so much worried about transitioning over onto the music scene. Back in the day, they would kind of be worried, like, yo, I'm getting popularity from the battle and shit. Yo, I got to use the battle rap popularity to make a hit record. Nah, you don't even need to do that. Not everybody needs to flip it like French Montana. You know what I'm saying? They all don't need to flip it like they saw 40 Cal begin to do when he had signed with Dipset. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to 40 Cal for giving me an interview. You know what I'm saying? 40 Cal done worked with Nicki Minaj, and all that. We spoke about that. Real one in the game right there, too. You know what I'm saying? But he actually, he was doing his thing. On Fight Club and all that. You know what I mean? So a lot of rappers kind of were using the battle rap fame to transition over, which is respectable. A lot of people were doing that shit. Oh yeah, I like the remix with Tony Yayo. I like the remix that Tony Yayo did of My Buddy as well. Hell yeah. Facts. Facts. Major. And anybody that's a graphic designer better go take advantage of Math Hoffa's challenge. Math Hoffa needs a artwork. Math Hoffa needs artwork done for his Super Gangsta project. Yeah, because Math Hoffa came and basically answered Funk Flex's challenge. Yo, Flex, I got the records. We got the records, Flex. Flex is like, yo, Math, we need records. I want 5 records. Math literally, you know what I'm saying? What was I just talking about a minute ago? What was I just talking about a minute ago when battle rappers back in the day used to want to make the transition to rap music? It's not till recently when podcasting has taken over. And realistically, it's not till recently when these battle rap bags have picked up either. And when I'm saying recently, I'm talking about the last 5 years. I'm talking about the last 6 years. The game has begun to change. You know what I mean? The ball is not in other people's court to dictate how we make money no more. Oh, if you don't have a hit record, you ain't. Nah, that's not how it works anymore. I'm going to come on here every night and I'm going to make a video that is like a hit record. I'm going to have a battle every 4 months, every quarter, like it is a hit record. The game has been flipped, you guys. And I love it, man, because now there's so many different avenues for people to get rich. You know what I mean? We've exposed so many different avenues for people to actually get rich. Look at it, man. It's genius. You know what I'm saying? In entertainment and music, there's got to be so many different streams of money and you know what I'm saying? And avenues of people getting paper and people becoming multimillionaires in this game. And I'm glad so many people are finding those. But yeah, man, it's been a dope podcast tonight. I really appreciate everybody tapping in. I want y'all to follow me on Instagram. That's right. If y'all are on the gram, follow me right now. You could also follow Kid. I got it pinned. I got his Instagram pinned up. He's got a new single out right now. Kid's new single. It's called Crooks. It's out right now. But yeah, man. Listen, anybody on here right now follows me on Instagram, you might get the follow back. If you follow me right now on Instagram, screw that. If you follow me on Instagram right now, you will get the follow back. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm starting from scratch. I'm literally only following 10 people. I'm literally only following 10 people on Instagram. So literally everybody that follows me on Instagram, I will be following you back. You heard? You gotta like my content though. That's the thing. You gotta like my content, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta like the content and shit like that. You gotta interact. That's what Instagram is about. It's right here. It's in the chat. All you gotta do is click on it. Everybody watching this video, and remember, put the questions for Kid in the chat. I really appreciate everybody tuning in and checking out these topics tonight, man. Some dope topics. 50 Cent admitting some G Unit failures. It ain't wrong to admit some failures, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't wrong to admit some failures. Every label done had some failures. I mean, we didn't bring up the other labels' failures tonight. Maybe I should have done a little bit more of that. Maybe I should have brought up some of the failures from Bad Boy Records. I did. I brought up Dream. Maybe I should have brought up some of the failures from Rockefeller Records, Murder Inc. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought up some of these other labels, but tonight that wasn't the topic. 50 Cent did a new interview. You know what I'm saying? He was out there in Houston getting it popping with one of the dopest stations. You know what I'm saying? So, 50 actually has new shows coming out, which I think we're all looking forward to, man. I think we're all looking forward to it, man. But everybody on here, follow me on the gram. Make sure you follow me on the gram right now if you want to stay in tune with what I am doing on an everyday basis. You're going to follow me on Instagram. But if you don't have social media, just tap in with me here on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Oh, God. Yeah. Now all the documentaries about rap are really interesting. I really love them, man. But I'm out of here, you guys. I'll see y'all on the next episode of the Mikey T, the movie star, live podcast, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed the podcast tonight. Mike T, the movie star.